Welcome guys to Module 2, Part 4, How to Find Your Perfect Image that will work with your personality, your lifestyle, goals, and will attract your type of women. Before we begin, let's review what we learned so far. In Module 1, we covered the inner game of image, the art of first impression and how to create an instant rapport with our style. We learned what makes our image simply wow. We also address the common mental blocks that prevents guys from creating an attractive image for themselves. We also learned how to do a wardrobe intervention and get rid of the clothes that are holding us back. In Module 2, we learn about the psychology of colors and how to wear them in an outfit. We learn how different types of clothes affect your image and what to look for and what to avoid when shopping for a particular piece of clothing. And just before we got to this part, we talked about the elusive perfect fit. All that we learned so far was designed to build strong foundations for this and upcoming steps, as we'll be taking a step back from individual items and start working on your image as a whole. And on that note, let's talk about what we'll learn in this part. We will split this section into two separate videos. First, the perfect image and 3 strategies to identify yours. We'll discuss what makes your image, your style, perfect for you. Once we define what we're looking for, we'll learn 3 different strategies how you can find the perfect image for you. In the second video, we will break down and discuss 6 different image archetypes, 5 of which can be very attractive and 1 surprisingly popular one at that. I would not recommend if your goal is to create an image that spikes sex appeal. This section is crucial because even though our goal is to create a unique image that will represent our personal brand in the sexual marketplace, we need to start with solid foundations first, and like an artist, we will take an archetype that closest resembles our goals and will build an individual masterpiece that is uniquely ours. But before we do that, let's talk about how most men end up dressing as they do. I would say that there are 3 different strategies. The first path is what I call going with the flow. Unconsciously falling prey to the outside influences, these men never question why they dress as they do. These are the men that wear the same style of clothes that their mom bought when they were still boys. These are also the men that you see walking in the groups of 3 to 5 guys, all rocking a nearly identical image because this is what fashion brands decided to sell this year. Now, this might sound bad, but going with the flow has a very distinct advantage. It's easy to fit in. People in general are wary of those that are, for one reason or the other, they deem as different, as outsiders. In turn, fitting in within certain circles, whether that's a preppy student, an artist, or a type A go-getter, can help you build instant rapport with both men and women. There are 2 big disadvantages with this approach, however. First, your image is not tailored to your needs and personality. Hey, it might not even suit your physique or natural features. In turn, you're missing out on a lot of leverage that you could use to your advantage and look more attractive to your type of women. Also, any image that is designed to suit everyone will work alright on everyone, but amazing on no one. The second problem is that as you're putting yourself in the same pool as every other guy rocking the same image, you'll have way more competition that is often naturally better looking, have better physiques, or have better game. This is not a good position to be in. The second path is what I call the artist's way. As the name suggests, this is the preferred way for artistic types and creative guys. The essence of this strategy is that its sole purpose is to represent how a person rocking this image feels and how they want to represent themselves. Now, the good thing about this is that your image is bound to be genuine, unique, and polarizing. Someone who focuses solely on wanting his image to represent his inner world will never need to compete in the same league as every other guy. He's different, and so the same rules don't apply to him. It's also a very polarizing look, because not every woman will like him, and chances are he'll get an occasional mocking stare or 2 from other guys. But the women who like it will absolutely love it. The biggest disadvantage with this approach is that it's a gamble. As anyone from a business world would tell you, Building a product that you want while ignoring the wants of your audience is a risky strategy, and that's the polite way of putting it. If we want to spike our sex appeal, our attractiveness, and get better results with women, we want an image that plays to our advantage and appeals to our type of women. Lastly, we have the opportunistic strategy. A complete opposite of the creative approach. The opportunist has little consideration to their personal preferences when it comes to style, and their preferred image is one that gets them results. Nothing more, nothing less. That's the guy who would wear a stained, ripped t-shirt to a bar if he ever found evidence that it would help him get laid. The advantage is that it works, kind of. It's easy to mock a guy who never wears a suit to work but wears one when going to a bar or a club, or wears flashy accessories and over-the-top colorful outfits. But as sad as it sounds, it does occasionally work to their advantage, and they can get positive results with women in turn. We do, however, have a couple of big disadvantages too with this approach. First, it's fake and try hard. Call me an old-fashioned romantic, but I do believe in an emotional connection when it comes to romantic encounters. But if your whole image is just a facade, you're robbing yourself of this connection, because from the first moment she sees you, you're essentially lying by misrepresenting who you are with your image. And once women will realize that who you are on the inside is completely different from how you are representing yourself, well, let's just say no one enjoys being lied to. The second problem is that even though you do get some results, you're not getting the best results. So even if you're a one-night stand kind of guy and don't particularly care about making an emotional connection with a woman, being solely opportunistic with image is still not the optimal strategy, as you're making things unnecessarily difficult for yourself. First, when your personality and image are not aligned, dealing with people becomes a chore because you feel the need to consciously keep up the appearances. On the other hand, when your image is aligned to your personality and preferences, dealing with people becomes so much easier because you're being upfront about who you are and what you want. Secondly, when your image and your personality is aligned, you will find that you naturally attract women who are into you and are looking for the same thing as you are. This makes escalating the encounter into a mutual goal instead of something that you do to her. Now, the good part is that despite being flawed, all of these three strategies do point us in the right direction. And what we'll do is we'll take the good parts from them and define our own perfect image. So how can we define the perfect image? Well, I think it boils down to three qualities. First, it suits your personality and you feel comfortable in it. Secondly, it attracts the right people to you, especially women. And lastly, it suits your lifestyle and environment. Just three simple qualities. But now, let's get a bit more specific. So, first things first, your image should complement your personality and self-perception, or your desired self-perception. Let me explain. From modern psychology, we know that our personalities and self-perception can be surprisingly fragmented and inconsistent. For example, just think how differently you act and behave when you're talking with your friends, when you're talking with your boss, and when you're chatting up that cute girl you just met. Social setting, environment, even our image all affect how we see ourselves and our personality. In turn, your image should go hand in hand with how you want to see yourself. To be more specific, this is what we should be looking for. Confidence, and that you actually feel more confident and comfortable in a particular outfit. Secondly, you should feel excited to go out and face the world when you're wearing that particular outfit or style. Yes, even if you're an introvert like myself, or a bit shy. Thirdly, you should feel attractive and desirable as a man. This means that if you're walking down the street and you see a girl looking at you, your first thought is not, oh shit, something must be wrong with my hair. Instead of thinking, yeah, she's checking me out. She would love it if I came up and introduced myself. Lastly, you should look for the feelings of other qualities that you aim to convey with your image, such as successful, influential, stylish, creative, sexual, dominant, or any other. So, the second big point is that your image should suit your lifestyle and environment. It means that your image and your specific outfits should be practical and comfortable in your day-to-day life. In other words, your outfits should be very different if you spend most of your time in an office and hang out most with other type A corporate go-getters compared to an image of a student who works part-time as a DJ in an indie dance club. In the same manner, your actual outfits will look very different if you live somewhere in Florida or certain parts of India where the climate can get ridiculously hot during summers and you don't have a real winter, compared to someone who lives in Canada or Scandinavia where you get like 2-3 weeks of real summer anyway. And lastly, age is also a factor, as you don't want to be the 20-year-old who dresses like a 40-year-old, and definitely not vice versa. Last but not least, your perfect image should not necessarily be attractive to everyone, but it should appeal to the type of women that you are most attracted to. In turn, we're looking for an image that is polarizing. This means that some women won't like it, but others, your type, will absolutely love it. Now, to illustrate this, I remember sitting at the bar and a female friend of a friend was telling me how inappropriate I look and how no woman would find me attractive. Meanwhile, on my side of the table, the two women who were sitting next to me were caressing my thigh and my lower back. Or when I did an experiment and asked women in the street to rate my attractiveness on a 1 to 10 scale with different outfits, the results with the same outfit varied from 2 to 8 with the shitty one and from 7 to 9.5 with the solid look. So this means that as long as you tailor your image to attract your type of women, the type of women that you're the most attracted to, you can forget about the others. And it doesn't matter if they deem you as not their type. Alright, so now that we know what we're looking for, let's talk about how we actually can find and identify our perfect image. The bad news is that, as far as I'm aware, there's no single perfect strategy that will work for everyone, as some of us are more visual, others are more analytical, and most of us fall somewhere in between. So instead, I would like to offer 3 different strategies. We'll start with the most visual and intuitive one to the most analytical and pragmatic. That said, I would highly recommend using all of them in a step-by-step manner as described in this video, as they build upon each other and you will get the best results when you combine them. Now, this is very important. You will only get results if you actually do the exercises. They will take just a few minutes, but you do need to do them. And now, without further ado, let's start with the first strategy. For this exercise, we will need about 3 to 5 minutes. So once you read the instructions, just stop the video and do the exercise. Now, you should be alone and in a space where you're feeling comfortable in. So, first things first, get into state by using your body language. Stand up straight, head slightly tilted upwards, shoulders back, and your arms to the side. Just stand there like that for 30 seconds, maybe a minute. As you do, take a few deep breaths. Now, this is where the interesting part comes in. Imagine your ideal self, whatever that means to you. Imagine him getting dressed and ready to go out into the world. Start with the grooming, the washing up, styling your hair. Now, see yourself getting dressed. What jeans are you putting on? What tops? What outerwear? Is it a leather jacket or a blazer? What accessories are you wearing? What shoes? Now, for this to work, you do need to be able to disconnect the mental filters that you have. So, while in this exercise, don't worry about being realistic. Let your imagination run wild. The goal here is to get a picture of your natural preference at this point in life. So even if it is just a vague picture, it's worthwhile doing it. And some of you that are more visual and more experienced with style in general might actually be able to construct a very definitive, very clear outfit for yourself, and you will know exactly what you want to go for. On the other hand, those that have trouble visualizing in general, or just are not experienced when it comes to men's style, and might have a little more trouble. That's fine, as long as you have just a vague picture and do the exercise, we're good to go. So now, stop the video and do the exercise. One of the best strategies in life to get results in any area is to find people who already have the results that you want and model what they do, making it uniquely yours in the process. So we'll use this approach in our second strategy, inspiration and modeling. So step 1, go to Pinterest/SexyStyleForJoe or Instagram SexyStyleForJoe. I recommend starting with these particular pages because we hadn't picked the outfits that we share there, so everything you see there are great looking and approved styles. Alternatively, you could just go to the same pages, to Pinterest or Instagram, and type in men's style in the search bar. Once you get there, go through the photos and look for the outfits and styles that you can see yourself wearing, that you personally think look absolutely great. As you do that, focus on the outfits and the grooming, not the male models and their physiques. This will give you a more realistic idea of what you're getting yourself into and the style you're going for. When you do find an outfit that you absolutely love and can see yourself wearing, take note of the specific items, the colors that it consists of. Also, it's a very good idea to save those outfits for the future. You can save them on your own social media page, or you can save them on your computer, as long as you have quick access to them. Now, our goal here is to have at least several images of the styles that you like and that you can see yourself wearing. This exercise is especially effective when combined with a visualization strategy. It's also okay if the outfits that you picked out look very different from each other. It just shows that you have a variety of interests, and different parts of your personality will respond and prefer different styles. That's normal, and we will need to incorporate this when we are creating your unique image. With that in mind, it's time to stop the video and do the exercise. It will only take you a few minutes. The last strategy is the pragmatic approach. This means that now that we've done some introspection and we draw some inspiration from other sources, it's time to take a very practical approach to our unique situation, to our lifestyle, and see how our image needs to be shaped around it. For this exercise, you will need a pen and paper or a text document. It should take you just about 5 to 10 minutes of uninterrupted time. And when you're ready, simply answer these questions. First, what personal qualities would you like your image to communicate about you? Limit your answer to 3 words. Second, how and where do you spend your free time? How do people dress there? How and where would you prefer to spend your free time if there were no restrictions? How do people dress there? Where do you usually meet women right now? How do people dress there? Describe the physical appearance of your ideal woman. Limit to 3 words. Where can you meet your ideal woman or women? How do people dress there? Imagine meeting your ideal type of woman for the first time. What's the first impression you would like to make? Imagine a first date with your ideal woman. How would you spend it? Which 2 of the following are the most important to you? Status, dominance, freedom, sex appeal, approval? How about which 2 of the following impressions you would want to avoid at all costs? Sloppy, feminine, try hard, boring, deadbeat? As you can see, with these questions, we address all 3 points of the perfect image. The character qualities that are important to you that you would want to represent, making it practical and fitting in within certain venues where you spend your time, and your ideal women. So now that we covered the 3 strategies and you did the exercises, you should have a sort of general idea of how you want your image to look, and ideally you also have picked out a few outfits that would match this idea. On top of that, you spend some time thinking about your goals with your image and the type of qualities you want to communicate and what qualities you want to avoid. You also thought through how people in your life dress, and very importantly, what's your target audience, your type of women, who they are, and where they spend their time. Now, take a few moments and try to compare the outfits that you picked out, the image that you visualized, with your answers. How do they go along? Are they aligned, or are they completely different? Why do you think that that's the case? Now, don't worry if you have trouble with the visual part, or if the answers are not aligned with the type of outfits that you picked out. We'll still use all the results that you have right now in the next video. So, just to repeat myself, before moving on, you should have either a visual idea for the image you're going for, with examples from Pinterest or Instagram, or the answers to the questions from the Pragmatic approach strategy. Ideally, you should have both. If you do, then start the next video, the 6 archetypes of men's image.